Reef DVM's coming at you, just a kind of a fun, sped up version of, building a Morton Barn. We had to put up another barn on the place, and just a kind of a difficult location, had a ton of trees on it. So got the neighbor to come over with the bulldozer and start working out a pad. A lot of people think that's kind of the easy part of the build. I'm not so sure. The roots were huge. The weeds were tall. It was kind of hard to see level. But, give it a day and we were able to bulldoze quite a bit and actually get to the building of the barn. The barn itself in this situation, obviously we'd always like to go bigger, but we went 40 by 42. 42 is one of the standard truss lengths, and 40 fit the space confinements we had in this section of in the farmstead. So anyways, we bulldozed up a bunch of trees, as you can see, and once we got the trees bulldozed out of the way, it was a matter of just kind of working the land and getting it level. This particular barn does have a concrete floor in it, and it sits on a base of gravel, but for the sake of the build, we just used the dirt that we had on the land and leveled it the best we could, built it on the dirt, and then from there we put the gravel in later. So this is about as level as we were able to get it. It's within reason for the build. I think the difference between front and back was less than 6 inches, so that worked out really good. Again, it's kind of a heavy clay soil here, so we're able to work with it. So this is kind of the final before we started the build. This build took us right up to snow. I mean, it was right to the edge. So we literally got done getting everything done, and the snow is flying. So this is kind of the area where we're putting it. Morton showed up with a typical delivery truck where they split themselves off from the trailer and set down all the trusses, and then including the footings, because remember they use a concrete footing system, which is pretty nice. It drops into a hole, and then they level it with a bolt and then pour concrete around it. Marked out the area, and then of course time to dig some holes. We use a great crew. It's just a couple-man crew up here that Morton uses. It's a family operation, and they just do a fantastic job. Digging the holes was pretty easy to do. We just got past the topsoil and we get into that clay. Took us a little bit of time to get through some of the clay. Likes to kind of, bind up a little bit, especially when it's a little bit on the wet side. I know it doesn't look too wet, but we had several inches of rain about a week before this video was shot, so the ground is pretty sticky down in there and stuff, so it still made it kind of difficult to get done. But once the holes got tapped in, it was just a matter of setting the footings and putting up the walls. The walls themselves, the way they put them together on the ground and then just tip them up, forgive the term, very Amish style, but I love it. They go up really nice, they go up straight, they go up square. That's exactly what you want. As far as the steel goes, it's hard to beat Morton steel. You see the holes here. They're, I don't know, probably 5 feet deep by the time they get done putting them in. Here we've got the footings that they install up with kind of a green board to hold them in place and keep them where we want. And then concrete arrived, and we're just pouring it in to kind of lock those devils in place. Once that concrete gets in there, it sets up like within 24 hours. The green board is used anyways, that kind of skirt there. So that stays in place, so nothing really moves. Literally the next day they can come and put up the walls. They build the 2 walls on the ground, and then just tip them up into place and then build the gable end. So literally within a day, they had the walls up, and up go the trusses. The trusses, again, 42 feet, so they've got some distance on them, but that works out really good. Hopefully we'll get a lot of nice storage on the farm with this and really be able to use it to our best. So here it is in the stick frame. The next day is put the steel on it. It doesn't take much to knock these over, so they do have some, steel on them to hold them, kind of X-bands, and we've got some log chains holding in the corners in case anything comes. Electrician was out today, and we sunk the wire for the power to this building. That'll get all inspected at the end. Considering this is an ag building, we only got to do a final inspection on that, which is nice. And we're not planning a lot of electric We're piggybacking off the previous building, and we're just going to have a few outlets and basically lights. So it's a real simple cold storage barn for us here in Minnesota. Purlins are up. Everything looks great. It's coming together real fast. This is literally just day 3. In 2 days, they'll be done. So here we are looking at it from kind of the outside. And again, same thing. It's got a nice look to it. You can see the other barns there in the background. I think it's going to be a beautiful barn here when it's done. So now the steel's going on it. You can kind of see the front of it here with the garage door and the utility door. That is the only entrances we're having for this. Cold storage barns up here don't need much more than this. But we're going to go with the traditional white roof and, red steel. So the trim is great. I like the white trim. I like the white gutters. We got the roof truck here now so they can hoist up the big steel on the edges. And we're just kind of waiting for the dump truck to come in. And I'll be able to start skidding inside soon some gravel. So that's really good once we get the gravel inside. All right, so 16 yards of gravel starts coming in. That's a blessing to see arrive. It's probably going to take 2 loads at least to fill up the inside. I'd like to fill it up to maybe 2 inches. I'm leaving plenty of room so that way we can get the concrete floor in. But yet, I would like a gravel base just to, make it a little more level and certainly give the concrete something to sit right on instead of just the hard clay. Obviously, we'll use some of this for the edges. Drainage is important. If we get the drainage right, it'll save the floor and we'll have less cracking because, like everybody says, cracking always occurs. So we're going to dump this load, and then once we have this load dumped, should be in great shape to kind of finish up the touches on the barn, get the door in place, get the utility door on, get the lights hung up, and then basically get the finishing touches on the gutters and the trim and stuff. So the roof is about half on. You can see I'm starting to hang some of the utilities there. I got the center outlets in and stuff, and I'm hanging some LED lights on the front, motion detectors. I kind of like that. Drive up and they turn on as the barn goes on. Inside, we're finishing the roof on the opposite side, and one more wall, and we'll be totally closed in. Pretty much day 3 will be in the books, and so will day 4. So literally we'll have day 5 left just to kind of finish it up. This is what it looks like without all the little details on, like gutters and stuff yet, but that's coming. You can see under the skirt board a little bit, but we'll fill that with gravel. So now I got the lights in, kind of the final day here of the build. Got a power cord hanging from the ceiling to reach everywhere I want. We're getting gravel in the edges, kind of building up the drainage and starting to level the floor. The center was pretty high. The edges were a little low. Got the building permit there yet, still stuck on the wall from the inspection. But everything is coming together real good. I'm going to finish up graveling around the edges. We're going to get some paver pads in here for the doorway and get some decorative rocks around it. And then we're going to start the process of concrete. It's going to get cold here within the next couple weeks. Little did I know it was going to drop almost, half a foot of snow on it. So our timing is just perfect. In comes concrete. This type of barn, they can pretty much reach quite a ways with the chute technique. We laid the rebar down. I tied all the rebar together, and then I tied it into the ground because that's required by code in my area. You gotta have 2 ground rods about 6 feet or 8 feet apart, and you gotta have those coppers tied into the rebar. We do lift the rebar up right at the end as we kind of work our way out. Another family helping us put the concrete in. A 40 by 42 barn like this, concrete expenses, I think about $8,900. So it isn't cheap, but it does work out. And again, we're just kind of dumping the concrete in and smoothing it out. And then as we go, we pick up the rebar to kind of set it, I would say about an inch into it to give us the strength we want. Here we got Sean power floating away. That's that's just a nice tool. It really works well to get a decent floor in here. So I would say this floor, probably when we're done, is probably about 4.5 to 5 inches, depending upon the depressions. It went in really nice, went in smooth. So we're going to let it set up for a couple months, so I won't show you with anything parked in it yet. But we just wanted to kind of set up when it's cold. This stuff takes a little longer, I think, to set up. Obviously, you can walk on it on the next day, but as far as putting any heavy equipment on it and so forth. So you can see there how it goes right up along the skirt board, right along the edge there. You can see how the rebar just kind of sits in it. Again, we have to pick that piece of rebar up right at the end. We just kind of quick pick it up, and then that helps set it in the concrete. And we just keep power floating this, and then we eventually sand it. And then this is what we're left with, just a beautiful floor. So this is the end of day 6 on this build, and pretty much everything is in place. It's just a matter of, kind of shutting it up, letting it dry, and of course in about a week all the snow comes. But that's the way life goes. Here's some of the finishing pictures of it right before the snow hit. It's got the garage door down, power's on, we're past inspections, so everything is looking good. We're ready. As you can see, the leaves have dropped all off the trees. The temps dropped pretty significantly in the last 2 days, and we're really getting ready for winter quick. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'll keep putting out great videos like this.